Welcome to this segment of Principled Truth. I thank you very much for taking a few minutes of your time to listen to this discussion based on the truth. And it's based also on two other things. Based on what our founding fathers did in creating the Constitution, which of course was biblically based on the Ten Commandments. This is not discussion about the Bible. This is a discussion about truth because I am not in any way a Bible authority. So, what is truth? Well, truth is veracity. Truth is sincerity. Truth is speaking of something that one knows of based on what one believes to be authentic. That's a good definition of the truth. So we'll have a chat here for a few minutes about truth and how it fits into our lives as it ties together with the strings that we use here with regard to helping people be entrepreneurs, whether it is entrepreneurship in your own business or whether you become an entrepreneur within the department and doing the job that you're doing, working for someone else. I believe it's essential as we carry forward in this discussion that I give you some further definitions. The first one from Thomas Huxley. There is no alleviation for the sufferings of mankind except veracity of thought and action, and the resolute facing of the world as it is. The spirit of truth and the spirit of freedom, they are the pillars of society, according to Henrik Gibson. Chiang Kai-shek said, "We live in the present, we dream of the future, and we learn eternal truths from the past." And Henry Wadsworth Longfellow said, "Let us then be what we are, and speak what we think, and in all things keep ourselves loyal to the truth." You're probably wondering where I'm going with all this talk about truth and veracity and so forth. But stay with me. This is a true story, and I will get to where we need to be with this, and it's very important to the success of your work and your business. There was a gentleman, and I use that word loosely, from the Carolinas, who one day saw fit to purchase a collection of 24 very expensive cigars. And after he purchased them, before he decided to enjoy them, he decided it would be best if he were to insure them. So he did insure them with an insurance company he'd been using for years. Amongst other things, of course, he insured them for fire and theft. And he hadn't received the premium notice yet, but because he'd been doing business with these people for a long time, the policy was in force and he began to smoke his cigars. And a couple of months later, he had enjoyed all 24 of these very fine cigars, and he decided that he would file a claim with the insurance company because the cigars had been burned in fire. So he did that. He filed a very, how would you categorize it? Well, anyway, let me go on. He filed a claim. The insurance company received the claim, and mind you now, they hadn't been paid the premium yet, but he was covered because the policy was issued. So they decided that rather than go through a big court hassle and so forth, they simply paid the claim for $15,000 for these 24 fine cigars. And I'm sure the gentleman was quite happy to receive the check, and he cashed the check, and very shortly after cashing the check for $15,000, which was certainly somewhat more than he paid for the 24 cigars, the sheriff came to his door and arrested him for grand larceny, for stealing from the insurance company. And what they did is they took him to court, of course, and they tried him, and using his own claim information about the cigars being burned, he was tried for burning the cigars. And what did the insurance company do? Well, they didn't know what was going to happen, but they hoped. And the judge found in favor of the insurance company, and this, I shouldn't use the word gentleman, was sentenced to 24 one-year sentences, 1 year for each cigar, for larceny. Now, what does this all mean to you or to anyone else in business or working to build something within someone else's business or corporation? Talking about honesty, truth, veracity, and giving you an example of a gentleman who obviously had malice of forethought when he purchased the insurance policy to insure the cigars he intended to smoke and then put a claim in against the insurance company. Now, please understand that there's no love lost for people who deal with insurance companies and perpetrate fraud. The insurance industry doesn't have the best image in the world, although it tries. But the answer really to all of this is if you're thinking about improving your lot in your business work, working for someone else, or if you're deciding that you want to become an entrepreneur, honesty truly is the best policy. Because what happens here people sense when you're being direct and honest with them. And what you want to do in building your business or improving your stature within the corporation you work for is making it very clear to people that when you say something, they can count on it. They know that they can take it to the bank, if you will, or to the insurance company, making a joke here. So that's what it's about. Honesty is truly the best policy. Now understand, sometimes people feel, well, maybe I really would be better to tell a little white lie because it would be less painful for me or for the person I'm trying to help or protect or whatever. The reality of it is the truth always comes out in the long run. So the best way to deal with things, very simply, dealing with the truth, dealing with honesty. So if you represent something to be something that it is, whether it's a product you manufacture or a service, for example, if you're in the service business and you advertise that the telephone will always be answered by a live voice and not by a machine, or if you advertise that you will within so many hours get there to fix something, if you're in the plumbing business or the electrical repair business, you better do it, because if you don't, what's going to happen is people are going to recognize that that is not the way you really do things. And I know there's a current national advertising campaign going on for a referral company. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. The key there is the opening commercial says something about a plumber saying, well, they'll be there shortly or they'll be back shortly or whatever it is. Now, please, I don't mean to offend plumbers. It could be anybody, any service business. The point is, if you say you're going to do it, do it. If you're manufacturing a product, the law requires that you must list the ingredients. Make sure they're all in there, even if it's tempting to save money by shorting some content or whatever. Why? Well, there's two basic reasons why honesty is very important. And if you're making a product and listing ingredients and you don't put one of the ingredients in, there's two reasons why it's really critical to do so. Number one is, by withholding a key element in the formula, it may negate the effectiveness of the product, so it doesn't work as well, and then people will get angry and you'll have returns. The really big problem is if you leave a critical ingredient out of whatever you're making, and that ingredient being critical affects whether the product really works or not, you could be sued, and you could be sued for very large sums of money. You always have to think about that. I hate to be in the position where we talk about and think about Murphy's Law. Remember what that is? Murphy's Law simply states this: anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and it will go wrong at the least opportune time. So the most effective tool to prevent Murphy's Law from happening is the truth. Do what you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, and you will find that people will respect you, they will count on you, and in business you will have repeat business, because if you say it's going to be there on Thursday at 2, it's there Thursday at 2. Whatever it is that you say you're going to do, if you do it and continually do it and be consistent with it, you will find that the truth will create incredible credibility for you, the strongest credibility you can possibly get. So that's all I have to say about truth is be honest, be straightforward, and do what you say you're going to do when you're going to do it. I'd love to have your comments, so please join me here on Principal Truth. Join the blog, send me an email, do whatever you wish, and we'll be happy to respond to whatever you have to say, as long as it makes sense. God bless you all.